Well, are you ready for this? Today I'm releasing not one, not two, but three brand new Parks Pat mysteries: Grounded in the Wind, Reservoir of Secrets, and Peril in the Blooms. Get ready to dive into more thrilling adventures with Detective Margie Parks Pat Patenaude. First up is Grounded in the Wind, Book 13 in the series. This one plunges Margie into a high-stakes investigation involving a mysterious drone, a dead body, and a plot that threatens national security. Get ready for twists, turns, and a race against time. "What is it?" Jones asked, reading trouble in Margie's face. "We've got another problem," Margie said, waiting for Jones to come around the bench and see for herself. It was the classic dramatic moment of a cop TV show, the police coming up on a sitting man to find he was not staring out at the traffic or sleeping or rocking out to some tunes on his earbuds. Instead, his eyes were dull, his shirt red with blood, and his skin already gray. Jones looked at him and echoed Margie's sentiment. She pulled out her cell phone and tapped the screen, putting it on speaker for the call. "Find something?" MacDonald demanded, his voice sharp. "Where are you?" "We're at a park bench on the west path," Jones announced, looking down at, "I think it's West Winds Drive. We have a dead body." There was silence from MacDonald. Whatever choice words he had, he kept them in his head, demonstrating great restraint in front of his team. "What's the situation?" MacDonald questioned after a long pause. "Do we have an active shooter? Is he the drone pilot? Just what little nest of rattlesnakes have we disturbed here?" "Hard to tell, sir," Jones said, studying the man on the bench. "He looks like a businessman, maybe a salesperson or technician. Neat, collared shirt, khakis, late 20s to early 30s, white." "Can't tell whether it's a gunshot wound or a knife," Margie contributed. "We haven't touched anything, and his jacket is covering the wound, but there's a good amount of blood. There's no controller here, so I wouldn't peg him as the drone pilot. I could be wrong, but I would guess no." "The two of you hold the scene," MacDonald instructed. "We'll finish reconnoitering and come to your location with tape and whatever else is needed. I'll put a call out for the medical examiner's office now, but I don't know who else we'll need. Have you seen any sign of the pilot or launch zone?" Margie did a slow 360-degree turn, looking for any trampled or worn ground, but she didn't see any indication that anyone other than the victim had been there, except, of course, the fact that he didn't appear to have killed himself. Here is a reading from Book 14, Reservoir of Secrets. What starts as a peaceful family picnic at Glenmore Park quickly turns into a complex murder investigation when a family patriarch goes missing and is found dead. Margie has to untangle a web of long-held grudges and dark family secrets. It was a perfect day for a picnic in Glenmore Park. Margie was glad it had warmed up and they could get in their first real outing of the year. Moosham needed a sweater to keep his old body warm, but the rest of them were in shirt sleeves, enjoying the freedom from coats and mittens and other winter gear. Christina's brown face glowed in the sunlight. She looked happy and carefree, as if school and its accompanying stresses were distant memories. A gentle breeze blew over the reservoir and fluttered the bright green leaves of the trees. It should have been the perfect day, unfolding just as Margie had planned. It wasn't even like it was a big family get-together. She and Christina wanted to get the extended family together and have a big gathering of the cousins, but they were starting small with just their little family and would work on planning something bigger in the summer, getting everyone organized. Like the family at the picnic area next to theirs. 3 generations, with a vigorous-looking patriarch at their head. Maybe in his 70s, considering the ages of his children. He looked like he could have challenged any of the other adults there, or even the grandchildren, to a sports challenge. Running, swimming, weightlifting. She didn't know what his sport was, but it was clear that he followed some kind of regimen to keep himself in shape. He appeared to be a wealthy businessman, but his body was not going to cede from sitting in an office chair all day. "Mom?" Christina prompted. Margie pulled her gaze away from the larger family group to look at Christina's inquiring eyes. Sorry. Did you say something? I was distracted. When is Detective Riley supposed to be here? He is coming, right?" Margie's cheeks warmed. She tried to suppress her body's reaction. She wasn't a silly schoolgirl with a crush. She was a grown woman, a professional, a homicide detective. And yes, she liked Louis, but she didn't know for sure where their relationship was going. She'd invited him to the family picnic on a whim, but she was regretting it. It wasn't like Christina was upset about it. She hadn't complained about an intruder on their family fun. She seemed to like Louis and didn't show any jealousy at Margie's attention being taken by someone else. But Margie felt vulnerable and was anxious that things go well. He should be here any time, she told Christina casually, checking the time on the face of her phone. She glanced towards the road that wound around to all the parking areas, looking for his car. As long as nothing came up. Sometimes our plans get derailed by a call. Christina snorted. Like I don't know that. Margie looked toward her grandfather. Are you warm enough, Mosham? Do you want a blanket? He looked thin in the wheelchair. He'd always been a small man, probably the result of poor nutrition in his childhood. As he aged, he was shrinking still more. She didn't like to see him diminishing in front of her eyes. If only people didn't have to decline as they got older. She wanted him to be there forever, her strong, spry, energetic grandfather. But the man was fading. I'm fine, Mosham insisted, giving her a broad smile. I'm here with my daughters, enjoying the outdoors instead of being cooped up inside, and I don't need another blanket. He smoothed the one she'd already laid across his thin legs to keep him toasty. He wasn't moving around like she was, generating heat with her activity. Mosham took a deep breath and let it out, smiling. His eyes went over to the family that Margie had been watching earlier. What a beautiful family. They must be so happy to all be together. We are still going to get the cousins together, aren't we, Mom? Christina asked, even though she knew very well they hoped to get the extended family together during the summer. Since Margie and Christina had moved to Calgary in the midst of the COVID lockdown, they'd been unable to get together for a large gathering. Restrictions had eased by now, and many people had returned to their previous practices. But Margie was still nervous about the risks of a large gathering. COVID was not gone despite the creation of the vaccines, and it could easily kill an old man like Mosham. She was terrified any time there was a viral outbreak at his care center. Yes, of course, she agreed. We'll get together as many of the Alberta cousins as we can and have a big party. Good, Christina pronounced. It'll be a lot bigger than that party. She indicated their picnicking neighbors with her gaze and looked smug. The extended Patenaude family was considerably larger than the one next to them. They would have to reserve a venue, rather than just hoping to find a free table as they had today. It's not how big a family is that matter, Margie pointed out. It's how close they are, what their relationships are like. They all seemed to be getting along pretty well. But appearances could be deceiving, and it turned out there was a lot more going on at the neighboring family's picnic than Margie imagined. The smiling faces and warm, cheerful voices were as misleading as the mirrored surface of the reservoir. It looked as smooth as glass, hiding the danger beneath the surface. Dive into Book 15 of the Parks Pet Mystery Series, Peril in the Blooms. Margie and her grandfather Mosham attend the grand opening of botanical gardens only for the event to be tragically interrupted by a shooting. This case involves stolen research, poisonous plants, and complex political issues. After a few minutes, as the speakers for the opening sat down in a row behind the podium, Thorndyke leaned into the microphone and tapped it, creating a noise on the speakers that made everyone jump and several cover their ears. Could everyone take their seats? Thorndyke suggested, satisfied that the sound system was working. We'll get started shortly. The audience chairs started to fill. It was easy to see that they'd not anticipated such a large gathering. There were few empty chairs, and a number of people stood in the back or around the sides to watch. Thorndyke looked at her watch and began speaking too close to the microphone and again blasting everyone's eardrums. I'm gratified to see so many people here today who are interested in preserving and expanding the gardens. These plants and flowers do more than just provide the eye with beauty. They're vital to the health of the environment and to us individually. She paused to give them all a big smile. It looked forced. It looked like it was something she'd been coached to do, rather than being normal and natural. Margie suspected it was written in her script. Stop and smile. We acknowledge that we are on Treaty 7 territory and the traditional land of the Métis people. We acknowledge and respect the histories, languages, and diverse cultures of the First Nations who traditionally live, work, and play on this land. Another pause and smile. There was a sharp report that made Margie first tense in her seat, looking around, and then jump to her feet. She looked at Dr. Thorndyke, who was looking startled and confused. Margie could see the pant leg of her tan pants around the podium, suddenly stained red at the thigh. Margie turned around, scanning the throng behind her, who at first were frozen in place and then dissolved into chaos. A figure wearing a ball cap and hoodie broke into a run, heading away from the crowd and toward the edge of the park. Margie sprinted after him. It was a few long seconds before the crowd started to clue in to what had just happened and started making noise. There were some screams and cries of distress, but no more gunshots. Margie had made a split-second decision to pursue the fleeing man rather than staying behind to look for any more attackers or provide first aid to Dr. Thorndyke. There were a lot of people present. Someone else would have first aid knowledge. They would all have cell phones and could call 911. The fact that the man was running away meant he was probably alone, and no further violence was intended. The biggest risk was losing him, because she'd not acted quickly enough. Margie had started running in the mornings before work, when she could get herself up early enough. But jogging, not sprinting. Good for cardio, good to get the blood flowing and get some benefit from it. But she'd never been fast, even in foot races as a child. Certainly not now, putting in too much time behind a desk, and eating too much fast food and pasta. She kept the man in view as long as she could, cataloging every detail she could: height, build, coloring, what he was wearing from head to foot. He wasn't carrying anything. She couldn't tell whether he still had the gun or not, and Margie didn't have hers. She was off duty, on an outing with her grandfather, to look at the gardens. Of course she wasn't armed. It was Canada. The whole thing was over in a couple of minutes. The man made it out of the park and across the street, and Margie was trailing behind him, too slow, losing him in the traffic and between the parked cars. He might have made it into one of the buildings she hadn't seen, but she had lost him. She stopped running and pulled out her phone, dialing 911. She hoped everybody at the park hadn't called at once and overwhelmed the dispatchers. "This is Detective Patenaude," she identified herself quickly once she had reached the emergency operator. "I was at Riley Park at the shooting. Pursued the shooter, but lost him. I'm at—" Margie looked at the street signs and read them off to the dispatcher. "He's on foot in this area, within a block or two. If you can get a perimeter up fast enough, you might be able to catch him. Suspect is wearing a black hoodie, flames ball cap, blue jeans, white sneakers. The hood was pulled up over his head, but he might have removed it to change his appearance after getting out of my sight." She stopped for a moment to catch her breath, and let the dispatcher get all of that down and start dispatching units. "I did not get a good look at the suspect's face, but he appeared to be a slimly built male, light-skinned, around 6 feet tall, may still be armed. He's been running, so he may be out of breath. He was fast." She blew out her breath again, wishing she'd been able to catch him or get a better description. "Stay where you are, Detective," the dispatcher told her. "A unit will come talk to you, so you can give him more information about the suspect's speed and direction." Margie had turned around to return to the park, but she stopped and stayed where she was. It would only be a minute or two before the car got to her, and maybe they could catch the shooter before he got away. She took deep breaths. Her chest was burning. It had been a much harder run than she was used to. These 3 new Parks Pat mysteries offer everything you love about the series. You'll find gripping police procedurals set against the beautiful backdrop of Calgary's parks and green spaces. Follow Métis Detective Margie Patenaude, a strong and savvy female sleuth, as she navigates complex cases and her own rich family life with her daughter Christina and grandfather Moshe. My books don't shy away from tough real-life issues. These are authentic, character-driven page-turners that will stay with you long after the final page. If you love mysteries with a strong female lead, a unique Canadian setting, and stories that delve into deeper social issues, then Parks Pat Mysteries are for you. To celebrate this exciting release, I have some incredible deals for you. First, get the Parks Pat Survival Pack for free when you sign up for my newsletter. This exclusive pack includes Out with the Sunset, which is book 1. You get the ebook, Start Margie's Journey on her first day as a Calgary homicide officer. You also get Out with Sunset as a computer-narrated audiobook, so you can take the mystery with you on the go. You get a bonus prequel story, Flight of the Blue Jay. Discover Margie's beginnings as a pregnant teen on the streets in Winnipeg. You can discover Calgary's treasures in a photo mini-book. Explore the first 15 parks that inspire the series. And finally, you get digital wallpapers. Bring the beauty of Calgary parks to your devices. You can get these at my e-store, shop.pdworkman.com. The Parks Pet Mysteries can all be read as standalones, but for those who need to catch up on Margie's entire journey, you can get a special bundle deal on books 1 through 12. That's Out with the Sunset, Long Climb to the Top, Dark Water Under the Bridge, Immersed in the View, Skimming Over the Lake, Hazard of the Hills, Knows the Hills, Spanning the Creek, Sanctuary in the Stream, Echoes of the Engine, Bench with a View, and Beneath the Icy Depths. Catch up on all the cases and immerse yourself in Margie's world. You can also pick up this bundle at shop.pdworkman.com. Don't miss out on these incredible new releases and deals. Grab Grounded in the Wind, Reservoir of Secrets, and Peril in the Blooms today. Sign up for my newsletter at pdworkman.com and get your free Parks Pet Survival Pack. Stay up to date on any new releases and special offers. And find the complete Parks Pet Mysteries, including books 1 to 12 bundle, at shop.pdworkman.com. And if you enjoyed these mysteries, please leave a review and share them with your friends.